And we're back with Thursday!
Huh?
Yay! I'll be off school.
Alright. Yep, we got 4 people here tonight. I don't know what happened to everyone else. I guess, the summer bug took them all and is holding them hostage. We'll see them maybe sometime in the future. I opened my eyes
Yes.
blearily, waking
Very
up to the
small
sound of something
process.
pounding in the distance. Do you guys get to hear the pounding?
No, I don't hear pounding.
Why doesn't anyone
Oh,
else hear the pounding?
oh, now
I
you're
think I
pounding.
might have heard it.
We had to turn up the volume a little bit.
Okay, I'll let you hear pounding again.
Yep.
I hear it.
Excellent. I stare at the ceiling for a moment, then abruptly prop myself up on my elbows, looking around, confused. Where the hell? Oh, yeah. Flynn's room. I'd fallen asleep on Flynn's bed, naked after I'd taken a shower. Turns out the lizards don't have dryers, so I was left to air dry. I was tired, so Flynn had let me lay out on his bed on a few towels, and that's where I am right now. Guess I fell asleep. Again, the pounding. I look over to my right and see Flynn curled up, his back facing me. I think he's naked as well for a moment, then I see he's got his boxer briefs on, the black color blending in with the skin. I reach over to poke the rough skin on his scaly back. The frills on the back of his neck flare out for a second, then lay back down. I almost do it again, but Flynn's grumpy, annoyed as hell tone stops me.
What?
I clear my throat. Sorry, but it sounds like I don't have to say it because the pounding starts back up again, echoing up the hallway.
What the fuck?
Flynn pushes himself up into a sitting position, squinting at the hallway through the door.
What time is it?
Flynn rolls off the bed and starts putting on a shirt. I grab my phone, glad to see that it's still at half charge. It's 9. At the same time, I notice that I have texts, several of them, from Leo. Shit.
What?
Flynn hops around the room as he tries to pull on some pants. My eyes scan over the text, realizing who it is likely that's knocking on the door. The messages started about 2 hours ago. Hey, I was at the motel and you weren't there. Jenna says she doesn't know where you are either. She says you didn't spend the night here. You and Flynn are the only ones not answering my messages. Are you at his house? Hello? I feel my stomach go into a knot. Fuck.
Hmm?
Flynn whirls on me, annoyed, now fully dressed. The knocking has stopped, but I'm still uneasy about what I've just found out. I think it's Leo.
What? What?
This time Flynn sounds panicked. He's been texting me all morning. He thinks I'm here now. I show Flynn my screen, but he barely looks at it. He's got his arms folded, his mind clearly racing. You know he can't find out that I spent the night here. I try to keep my voice under control.
I know.
Yeah, we both know. Things are basically over between Leo and I. But that doesn't change the fact that this will bring up all kinds of problems in our little friend group. Flynn paces around for a few seconds, then turns back to me.
Well, he's gone now. I can just get Carl to say that you spent the night at his...
He's already texted Carl.
Shit.
Flynn groans and hangs back his head.
Well, did he ask him if you spent the night there?
No, just that he didn't know where I am. At least that's what he said in the text.
I'll just tell him I don't know, and Garl can say you were there.
Don't you think Carl would have told? Flynn suddenly reaches out, grabbing my shoulder and throwing me sideways onto the bed. I stare at him, wide-eyed, but he's not looking at me. Instead, he's staring at the window behind me. What? He throws his hand out in my face, silencing me. Flynn moves to the window. That's when I notice a big shadow shifting around out there. I scramble to the other side of the bed, heart hammering in my chest. Did he see me? The curtain is covering most of the window, but the foot-long gap at the end is just enough to look in. Flynn starts pantomiming in front of the window, shrugging his shoulders and shaking his head. Finally, he drops his arms with a sigh and leans in to crack the window open.
The hell are you doing?
Why the hell didn't you answer your door?
Leo's voice is angry. Honestly, a lot more angry than I would have expected, despite the situation.
I just woke up.
I was knocking for like 5 fucking minutes.
I'm a heavy sleeper.
You're dressed and everything.
I just got dressed. Most people don't go peeking into windows when they don't get an answer, though.
Flynn glares through the window. I quietly roll off the bed so I can hide better.
Bye, Otter.
Okay. Even if I'm not in view of the window from here.
Listen, I'm just looking for Chase. Have you seen him?
No.
He's right there behind you. You guys were naked together. I watched. I was staring through the window the whole time.
Wow,
That's
I
a
didn't
little
know
bit
Leo
weird,
was
dude.
into that. Flynn shifts his position a bit, in my direction, as if trying to block Leo's view.
Looking for something?
Yeah. Chase.
Well, he ain't here. Why would he be?
I don't know. Maybe he'd have sex with you. He stayed behind with you at the party, didn't he?
Yep, and then he ran off to do some project or something.
There's a long pause.
Ooh, Chica! Can I come in for a sec? I need a drink.
What? Go back to your house, man.
You're saying you don't want me to come in?
Flynn sighs loudly, rubbing his eyes.
I'm saying I'm tired.
It's 10 in the fucking morning.
Oh, good for fucking you, Leo. Some of us do sleep in that late, jackass.
You should be up by like 7:30.
It's 9, but yeah, sometimes I stay up late.
Doing what?
Flynn lowers his hand from his eyes and glares out at Leo.
Listen, I'm not really in the mood for this right now.
Another long pause.
You're acting like a little crazy right now, too.
I don't like my boyfriend having legs, okay?
Sounds like a you problem.
Listen, I'll be on my way if I can just come in for a bit. I'm fucking burning up.
I see Flynn push his forehead against the glass. Eyes closed, frustration written all over his face.
Alright. Glass of water and then you get out so you can go back to sleep.
Fine.
With that, Flynn closes the window, watching it for a while before sighing loudly again.
Alright, stay here, got it? If he knows you're here, we both know he'll kill us.
Yeah.
Alright, if for whatever reason he comes back here, hide under the fucking bed if you have to.
With that, Flynn turns and heads out the door into the hallway. The last thing he said has me feeling like shit. Sneaking around behind Leo's back like this is wrong. Even if I know telling him would be worse. Is it my fault that Leo can't get over our relationship? I have the right to do what I want, right?
Who I want, right?
What's that?
Not what I who I.
Oh. I sigh and press my forehead into the bed. Staring at my crotch, and that's when I realize that I'm still naked. I look up, listening. I hear the front door open, followed by some distant mumbling from Leo. If I sneak to the
Water and shit.
If I sneak to the bathroom real quick, I can grab my clothes. Maybe stay there until Leo leaves. At least that way it won't look as bad if he finds me for whatever reason. I get up and pad quietly to the hall, listening. I can see him crinkling around the kitchen, and the murmur of some voices. The kitchen is practically outside from the hall, which leads to the living room. I stand there for a moment longer, tail twitching as I contemplate if this is a good idea or not. The moment I hear Leo's voice coming from the kitchen area again, I quickly tiptoe the short distance to the bathroom. Despite not having come close at all to being caught, my heart still hammers in my chest. The voices continue to mumble in the kitchen as I start looking around for my clothes. They're folded neatly on the counter, and I quickly snatch them up.
Pretty sure I wouldn't smell on you.
Catch a few
I smell
words.
otter. Let me smell your dick.
Wow.
I'm gonna say something after this scene to you and probably won't be included in the video.
A really weird mood.
It's all good. I catch a few words from Leo that makes my ears perk. Something about smell? Leo smells a lot of things. He has a canine's nose. My eyes widen. Did he smell me on Flynn? I'm pretty sure Flynn hasn't showered since what we did yesterday. My heart rate picks up again as I feel my knees wanting to give out.
Where the fuck are you going?
This time I do hear Flynn, and I know exactly what it means. The only problem is I'm still naked in the fucking bathroom. Should I lock the door?
Yes?
Then Leo would definitely know someone's here, and that's probably me. Fuck! Oh, no, okay, no. Fuck. I don't know why it's all caps if it's not shouted.
And he's like shouting
Yeah,
it, but without talking.
It's showing that he's stressed.
I guess. Like, it should have been not a dialogue one.
That's true. It should be, I mouth the word fuck.
Yeah.
I mouth the word, knowing that Leo would hear it if I said it now. I hear heavy footsteps coming up the hall. I definitely can't go back to the room and hide under the bed now. They don't keep coming toward the bathroom, though. The movements become somewhat muffled again as they turn to Flynn's room.
This is fucking crazy, Leo.
Where is my boyfriend?
If Leo heard Flynn, he doesn't say anything. I anticipate the sound of Leo ripping up Flynn's room, but I guess he's not far gone because things go quiet again. Then there's some pacing around, along with heavy breathing.
You've realized I could call the cops, right?
I hear the closet door open. I look around desperately, realizing I don't have much time. The first thing I see is the shower curtain in the bathtub. It's a see-through blue color, so there's no way I can stand behind it and not be seen. I hear shifting around the other room again, and their bickering becomes more clear as they step back into the hall. Panicking and practically numb with fear, I crouch down and pull open a cupboard under the sink. Amazingly, there's only a few bottles of cleaning solution, leaving plenty of room for me to squeeze in. As quietly as I can, I crawl into the opening. Reaching back out, I pull the door closed, setting my other hand against it so it won't spring shut. Everything goes dark, and the voices become muffled once again. I back up against the very back of the enclosure, hugging my knees as I try to keep my breathing quiet.
Leave it
What was that?
off!
Oh. Oh, you're talking to your dog.
Off!
Yep.
Randall! Randall! Off!
It's actually a little while before they come into the bathroom, and I almost jump as I hear Leo shouting about his dog and him needing to get off of things in the small space.
His smell is all over your fucking house.
And you should probably shower more.
There's a small silence, and I imagine that Leo just gave him a look that shattered any surly confidence he might have had.
Well, like I said, he was here for like an hour yesterday.
Randall.
Why didn't you fucking tell me that earlier?
Because I knew you'd be acting like this, seriously.
The footsteps shift again in time with their voices muffling.
You know,
I dare to
leave it.
let out a small sigh of relief. I can still hear them arguing, but I don't care enough.
Apparently we follow them.
I have a weird inclination to follow.
This isn't me who says these lines, by the way.
So, who is it?
It's Seb. Seb, read
Oh.
your lines.
Pass through the cupboard door into the bathroom. Follow the voices down to the hall, to the kitchen. Leo is on his way to the door. He stops in front of it, turning back around to Flynn, who's following close behind.
You're really starting to piss me off, Flynn.
And you're really starting to freak me out, Leo.
All that you said still doesn't explain why his smell is all over you.
Flynn works his jaw for a moment, eyes narrowed. We roughhoused a little bit by the mine. You know how we get sometimes, and it was really hot. Leo's shaking his head, like he's tired of listening to what Flynn has to say. Like he's tired of everything.
And then to have it mixed with that smell.
Flynn throws his hands up, exasperated. Jerk off later. Sorry, but this really ain't any of your business.
You know, it kind of fucking is, since I planned out this entire fucking thing.
Leo's starting to lose his temper again. You know, this isn't like Leo at all. Calm down. Jesus, maybe he went off to do research or whatever. Said he wasn't done at the mine. At the mine. Leo's not listening anymore. He's looking to the side, staring at the wall, hackles raised. Listen, I'll drive around town real quick to see if I can find him before work, alright?
Flynn, you know you ruined this whole thing for me, alright?
Thing for you? What are you talking about?
And I'll be fucking damned if I let you do it again.
The anger and spite in Leo's face is scaring Flynn. Leo, what's going on? But Leo still isn't listening. The wolf turns sharply away, yanking at the open door. Leo... Flynn reaches out, resting a hand on Leo's shoulder. But at that moment, the wolf throws an elbow back into Flynn so hard that the lizard is sent stumbling back several steps before falling to his knees. Flynn lets out a hoarse groan, but Leo ignores him, slamming the door shut on his way out. Flynn stays like that, doubled over on the carpet, making soft rafting noises, before his breathing finally comes under his control. Stares there a while longer, absorbing what just happened, knowing that Leo isn't himself either. He also regrets doing anything to chase. Finally, he looks up right at you. You decide to leave. There's really no point to try and reason with it. It's been a while since you've been out alone like this. Feels good not being detached. Something about that lizard, Flynn, is helping this happen. You'll have to deal with him later. As you continue to walk down the dirt road, you see him. It takes a while at first because he's so far away. Then you see that fake tail waving back and forth as he approaches you. Can he see you? Probably. It's been a long time since you were attached. But the feelings, the thoughts, you can remember it like it was yesterday. The new one is better, a lot more quiet. At least you made him quiet. It was easier to do then, with this one. Keeps walking toward you, and you start to wonder if you should turn back. You always snap back eventually. Why not let this play out? Let's see how far this will go. Now that you're this close, you see the water dripping off his body. Even after all these years. Finally, you can make out his face. Angry, no, furious, finally seeing you again. He doesn't like what you did, and who can blame him? He starts to run towards you. You finally stop walking. Waiting. He's on you a second, lunging, blunt claws and sharp teeth bared.
I keep wondering if I should come back myself. The last time I heard any voices was like almost 5 minutes ago. Still, I realize they could both be outside or something, and I don't want to come running out if Leo decides to come back in. So I wait, starting to feel sweaty in my cramped position, my nose twitching from the strong chemical smells. I'll probably have to take another shower. After another few minutes, I hear a soft padding up the hallway. I know it's Flynn, but I wait. After a few seconds of silence goes by, another few seconds of silence goes by before Flynn finally speaks.
He's gone.
So how are we going to explain to Leo that Carl just forgot that I was there? I pull on my shirt over my head, kind of feeling gross putting back on my musky shirt. Flynn stands in front of his dresser's mirror, having just finished putting on his tie. He's currently picking at his scales with a pair of tweezers.
Carl forgets everything, especially when he gets high, which is all the time.
Flynn's been acting kind of distant after the whole Leo incident. It's not hard to imagine why. I'm feeling the same way. Leo almost finding out, probably finding out, had to put a damper on our stupid excursions. It really put into perspective how immature we were being. Alright, so I'll say I spent the night at Carl's, then left in the morning to do some filming, then came back. Flynn had told me to text all this to Carl before I go over there. The only response I got so far was a short, "What?"
You don't got any other choice.
I guess not.
And Chase, we probably shouldn't do this any.
Yeah, I know. Flynn glances at me through the mirror, then returns to picking at his skin. He clears his throat.
I know this is kind of gross, but
It's fine. We've all got our gross things to deal with.
can't go into work looking like I got snowed on, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't ever really get that bad, but
Flynn breaks off awkwardly as he goes back to his grooming. It's weird seeing him this off, but again, it's not like it's unwarranted. I sit on the edge of his bed, texting Carl again to try and get him to at least partially understand what the plan is. After a couple minutes, Flynn clears his throat again.
listen, Chase. You ever feel a bit like not yourself?
Hmm? I look up and see that the lizard's looking at me through the mirror again. He quickly turns his attention back to his picking.
I don't know. Like you're not fully in control of what you do?
I frown. Is Flynn trying to get at something? Explain his own actions? Does he feel like he wasn't in control of what happened between us? No, at least I don't think so. Flynn finally puts down the tweezers. Oh, is that?
It's funny because we control Chase.
Uh-huh.
And Flynn kind of knows this.
Now,
He calls
the
he
question
calls out
is,
at the beginning.
I'm gonna point this out to you though, real quick, because that entire scene gets into some real interesting territory. But I'll wait for when this scene ends, and then we can talk about that one, okay? Flynn finally puts down the tweezers and turns to me, leaning his rear against the dresser.
So you've never felt like you're not yourself?
Though I'm not totally sure as to what Flynn is getting at, I decide to humor him and think. I guess after what happened when we were kids, I didn't feel right.
After Sydney?
Yeah. I tried to avoid talking about it directly, but Flynn doesn't seem to be bothered right now. You probably remember that I saw a therapist after, because I felt so different and it scared me. Flynn nods.
They figure it out?
Kind of. If I remember right, they said it was like a dissociative thing.
What's that?
Like, sometimes when something really traumatic happens, your mind sort of distances you. God. Like, sometimes when something really traumatic happens, your mind sort of distances you from yourself to protect you. I shrug. Something like that. I'm not very good at psych stuff. I almost told Flynn to ask Jenna, but of course he can't.
Yeah, ask Jenna. Go ahead, try me.
Jenna, you're a therapist, right? You study clinical or counseling, right, Jenna?
Fuck no. Although, disclaimer, in real life, I do actually work in a lab that works with clinical people.
Yeah, but that's not your specialization.
No, it's not. It is not my specialization. But I do work in a lab that has it relates to clinical stuff, and I work with clinical folks. But no, I myself am not training for that.
Oh yeah.
So did they fix it?
Not really, but I got used to it, I guess. Was like the new me.
And you're okay with that?
I shrug again. My therapist said that really traumatic things can change the way your brain works forever. You just learn to live with it.
That doesn't sound good.
No, but it's a part of life. I think we all changed.
Yeah.
I don't go into detail about how it got worse over time. The whole not feeling like myself thing. How I felt more and more like my personality was bleeding away. That I'm a completely different person now than I was 10 years ago. Because in the back of my mind, I just wonder if that's what it's like to grow up. Then you become less like you were as a kid. Happy, carefree, a complete douchebag. And turn into a hollow shell of that. I can still feel Flynn looking at me, So I decided to bring up something else that's just as uncomfortable since we're already there. So, when are you planning to talk to TJ? Flynn's silent for only a second.
Saturday, at the end of your trip.
I'm not sure if that's the best idea. It doesn't leave much time to make amends if things turn sour. Which they most likely will. But then I guess that means we'll easily be able to just leave as soon as it's over. Okay. Flynn's still looking at me as I abruptly stand up, putting my phone back into my pocket. Anyway, you ready to go? I don't want to make you late for work.
Sure.
Flynn finally straightens up, walking across the room to grab his keys. I'm glad just to have somewhere to go now. Flynn feeling off like this is one of the most awkward experiences I've ever had. Probably because he's usually so good at making things not awkward. So with that, Flynn takes me to Carl's house, dropping me off before heading to work. I sit quietly next to Carl on the couch as he plays his video games. It's some kind of first-person shooter that I've never seen before. And I'm gonna quickly change the volume for this because I turned it up earlier for the knocking. Maybe there. Yeah, that'll be good.
I like Carl's music.
Some kind of first-person shooter I've never seen before. Alright, who wants to be backup Carl?
Are you backup Carl, Hannah?
I guess I could be.
I could also be. I'd be happy to be backup Carl as I have a deeper voice.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah,
Hannah wants to be
anything.
backup Carl.
I say I actually need to send out an email or two.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
I'll be Carl. Hold on, I gotta get stoned real fast. If you guys don't mind.
Okay, well, I'll just splash the 30 minutes later thing up here right now.
Alright. You know, I'm not all that into shooters, but this one's pretty good.
You need to be like 50% more stoned.
Oh, really?
Take another hit.
Okay, hold on.
Don't move.
Don't move.
Uh,
Get off me. What the fuck?
I can only assume what's going on.
I think that is. It's either some sort of beetle or cockroach.
Oh jeez.
It's on DJ's shirt.
Oh, I always
I feel
hate
gross.
things like that on me. Well,
Gotta
whenever you're
believe
ready to be high again, Carl.
Alright, let's be high without having a roach on my shoulder.
I mean,
That would be-
that is another name for a doobie.
Well, there we go then. You know, I'm not all that into shooters, but like, this one's pretty good.
Yeah? I try to act interested as I browse through my phone. I've already texted Leo apologizing and telling him that my phone had died. It's weird how quickly this lie has gotten out of control. I'm making things up as I go at this point, and I'm amazed at how easy it is. Leo hasn't responded, and I doubt he believes any of it. It still gives us both room to pretend, though.
Yeah, man. I think it's the sci-fi elements. I could never play one of those World War shooters.
Same. Carl clicks around with the controller for a while longer.
You alright?
I sigh loudly, finally tearing my eyes away from my phone. Yeah, I'm good.
'Cause you don't seem good.
I don't respond to that, instead choosing to zone out to whatever's happening on the screen.
What's with this whole story anyway? About you spending the night or whatever?
I debate whether it's worth telling Carl or not. He'd go along with it either way, but keeping all these secrets is starting to make me feel sick. Well, I spent the night at Flynn's. Leo found out I wasn't at the motel, so he came looking for me.
Oh shit. Did you and Flynn,
I let the silence hang for a while. Carl snorts.
wow.
Come on, Carl.
No, I don't mind. Seems kind of weird.
How so? I feel myself getting defensive. I'm not really in the mood to be judged by Carl. Yeah, he's cool and everything, but his life, let alone his sex life, didn't exactly put him in position to do so. And who's texting me? Oh, it's my mom.
Hi, Mom. Dude. How you doing?
Don't you tell my mom that you love her, Carl. That's not cool.
It's like, I'm getting high, Mom.
I mean, this won't go in the video. I'm gonna squeak this. But we are back from my short stories. At least I felt they were short. Timer says otherwise. Yeah, he's cool and everything, but his life, let alone his sex life, doesn't exactly put him in a position to do so.
Well, you just barely got here, like, 5 days ago, and already?
I sigh. You know how Flynn is,
Yeah, I do.
so you shouldn't be surprised.
But I mean, I've known him since we were kids. Just feels a bit...
Carl, I'm not really in the mood right now. Carl goes quiet for a few more minutes. The clicking buttons on his controller will be the only sound. Doesn't last long though.
You know, I saw you guys at the river a couple days back.
I saw you too.
I mean, I saw you guys.
Carl, I just said I'm not in the mood. Carl shrugs.
Just saying. Right, no, it's cool.
I keep quiet, hoping that will get Carl to drop this stupid subject already. It doesn't work.
But I get why you gotta keep it from Leo like this.
I pulled my phone out to see if I've gotten a text from Leo yet. I haven't.
Me and Leo, we don't hang out that much. Though, I think he tries to. He talks about you a lot.
I try to ignore the guilt that's steadily building up inside me. Did you smoke today? Because you're being real talkative right now. I only ask because I don't smell it.
Wait, am I being a bad stoner right now?
Usually it's pretty strong.
Actually, I had an edible this morning.
Carl giggles for a good long while after that. Oh, really? I massage my brow with a thumb and forefinger. Normally I get along great with Carl, especially when he's high. But after this morning, basically everything is getting on my nerves.
I usually hate that shit. I don't know. Guess I was bored today. Things shoot me right into fucking space, man.
Guess explains why you won't shut up.
Hey, am I pissing you off?
I immediately regret what I just said as Carl puts the game on pause. No, just had a stressful morning.
With Leo?
Carl starts the game back up, giggling again as he shoots the Space Marine in the face. Finally, a text from Leo. Good to know. Another one immediately follows. Let's hang out sometime soon.
But you know, Flynn cares about you too.
Yeah? I text Leo a quick affirmative, though I'm not really sure when that hangout is going to happen.
Yeah. Wouldn't stop talking about you when we drove to the reservation.
Really? That actually did seem really out of the ordinary. What the hell would Flynn have to say about me? Carl shrugs.
Bunch of stuff. He wanted to buy you something from the reservation, but thought it might be too weird.
Flynn buying me a gift? That is kind of weird. For Flynn, I mean. Were you saying something, Hannah?
Oh, no, I wasn't saying anything.
I thought I heard somebody's voice.
I thought it was kinda cute.
What else did he say?
Uh,
Carl seems to think hard while he continues to shoot guys on the screen. He twists the controller this way and that, bumping into my shoulder each time.
you seem to have grown up a lot. Way different than you were as a teenager. Yep. Really cute.
Carl's tone seems slightly annoyed there. I don't really care enough to ask about it.
By the way, how's your project going?
Being reminded that I have an entire project to do doesn't ease the knot that's formed in my stomach. Not that great. Still need a lot of film and research.
What kind of research?
Stuff about Echo.
You mean like Flynn's dick? I mean,
No, I've already studied that enough.
fair enough. Get video too?
Yeah, it was a short research topic.
Oh,
You're
oh,
done.
oh no.
You're done.
I'm so sorry.
What
I'm
was
so
what was the whole
sorry.
one you said?
Oh no.
I didn't hear it, DJ. Tell me.
I said, did you videotape it too? Because Chase is
Oh.
a photography student.
That's nice, because I immediately responded with, yeah, it was a short research topic.
Oh, a short research topic.
Oh,
Whoa.
burn.
Yep.
Oh,
Carl plays a while longer, and then sets down his controller.
my mom might have some Echo history stuff in the cellar, but
He pauses.
you know, Flynn is like the records holder, right?
The clerk, yeah. I already know what Carl's getting at. And honestly, I want to kick myself for not thinking of it in the first place. Carl turns to me, a loopy grin on his face. Those elbows really do fuck with him.
Let's go get some records from him. Probably better than digging around my basement. If you know anything about my basement, it's way better than digging around my basement.
Well, yeah, we should, but I don't even know what to get.
Don't worry about it, dude. I go down there to shoot the shit with him all the time. You can ask him.
Things aren't exactly cool between Flynn and I right now, but it's something to do. I'm so behind on my project at this point, I don't have any excuses. Now, I want to say this about freaking Chase's project. This is the route where he's done the most work on it already, and if he's feeling he's behind, and very much behind, by Thursday in this route, what the hell was he thinking in all the other routes? When he was like finally reminded about his project again.
Actually,
Not
it's
about the
crazy.
project.
In Jenna's route, actually, we haven't played enough of Jenna's route yet. In in Carl's route, he actually has done quite a bit for his project.
Okay, yeah, he does work on his project every day or so. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, back to this. We pull into the gravel parking lot in front of the city hall. The stucco structure looks a hell of a lot more weathered than I remember it. Tarps drape the roof, and one of the windows is blacked out with plastic. City Hall is probably the oldest building still standing in Echo. From what I read on the county's website, it served as the town's post office back in the early 20th century. Before then, it was an outpost used as an intelligence operations center during the years leading up to the Mormon Rebellion. Government spies were planted in the nearby settlements from Colville to Peyton and delivered the reports on potential agitators at this outpost. They actually kept a priest on hand to help reaffirm the spies' faith in the true word of Christ. It's weird to think that Sydney was the last Mormon I knew. Are you sure Flynn works here? I exit my car, watching Carl stare ahead. His eyes are half-lidded, the ram seeming to stare for miles beyond the building in front of us. Matt? Carl, it's up.
Yeah. Oh, yay, my stoner buddy. I'm sure.
Alright. Carl doesn't move. Are you gonna come out? The ram blinks slowly, his maw starting to hang out agape. He shifts his bloodshot gaze. Shifts towards my torso. Okay, there's just one too many shifts in that sentence.
Nah, my parents will flip.
He flops his wrist in front of him limply, his tone tinged with effeminacy. Of the car.
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Carl reaches down, unscrewing the lid from his water bottle and taking a few hearty glugs. When Carl grabs the car's door handle, he hesitates. After a moment, he looks at me. He's completely silent, sucking his cheek on one side. Carl? Finally, he speaks.
I sort of agreed to come out without considering that I'd be talking to anyone but you and crew today. Let alone the mayor and stuff. I'm still stoned as balls and I look like shit.
He laughs some in a self-deprecating fashion, visibly sheepish despite the THC still flowing through him.
I think I might just chill here in your car with the air conditioning and Higgin tactics.
I think it might be High Gun.
High gun.
It could be Higgin, though. Yeah, if it was High Gun, it would have had frick, what's that, like, sideways kind of line called?
Hyphen?
Hyphen, thank you. He holds up his phone, and I think I can just barely spot the icon for it in the sea of other game apps. Carl does look high, though he doesn't appear any worse than he usually looks. Telling him that probably won't do much for his confidence, though. So, try and reassure him, or let him stay in the car. Come on, you only look like a little bit of shit, or, oh yeah, you look awful, stay there.
Only a little bit of shit.
Alright, I got one vote for only a little bit of shit.
If he's that bad, I would personally let him stay. I personally, the best thing would be let him stay in the car.
Alright, oh god, you look like a fucking mess.
Honestly, if he was going into a government building, yeah, I
Probably shouldn't be high as balls.
Yeah, but it's Echo. They got, like, meth lords here, and, like, people, like, who are missing teeth and all that walk into these buildings.
Alan wants us to do the bad idea dance.
I feel Jace would probably be like, maybe you could sit this one out.
Alright, it sounds like I have, like, a couple of votes for, letting him stay in the car, with only Seb doing reassuring him. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Alright.
Although sometimes breaking up our group sucks, so we'll see.
That's probably a good idea, all things considered. By the way, we're locked in on the bad route now.
What?
I'm kidding.
I was like, I'm pretty sure he said there was only one for Flynn.
So I'm telling the truth. We are locked in on the bad route.
Oh boy.
What was the bad? We locked down the bad route.
Yeah. There's only the one ending, so technically I'm telling the truth. We locked in on the bad one. It's also the good ending, too.
Huh.
It's the good bad ending.
The good bad ending.
So it's good, but it's not good. Okay.
I will just say this about Flynn's ending. It's interesting.
Okay.
Like Flynn himself.
Actually, I think the better word to say for Flynn's ending, it's wild. It gets real wild, whatever the hell is going on in Flynn's ending.
Okay.
Either way, you gonna be alright in there? I mean, if you start sober up, feel free to come get me. I could always use a hand. Carol.
Daryl? Who's Daryl?
No, Carol.
I heard Daryl.
Nope, Carol.
Carol.
No,
That
Carol.
Who the fuck's Carol?
Carol, she's a kind old lady who lives down your street.
Wait, I have a neighbor named Carol?
The old one who lives in my house?
Huh.
Yeah, she lives in by the way, Matt, I literally went when I was doing apartment hunting, I went to the apartment that was like your neighbors. While I was apartment hunting.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna bleep this. So I know you're in apartment and I went into apartment
Okay. Did you see me at all?
No. What happened was I was telling the people there, like, oh yeah, I know somebody who lives in these apartments. And they're like, oh yeah, who? I'm like, name. And he told me good things. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's a nice boy. And I'm like, yeah. All right, cool. I didn't expect you to actually know him.
Yeah, I talk with maintenance and the landlady. I've known them for at least
Okay, good.
4 years now, so it's good.
Okay.
I'm good, man.
He scoots back to the car some. He scoots back the car seat some, leaning it back.
You got me way too early to be hanging out proper, like, anyhow. I'm usually sleeping till like 3 hours from now.
Oh, so then Leo really has no excuse for being a dick.
Wait, what did he say?
Well, so Carl's saying he'd be asleep until 3 hours from now, so he's sleeping until 2 p.m. Leo earlier was like, why are you still in bed at 10? To Flynn.
Listen, I'm not being a dick. I smell dick.
So you're a dick. Gotcha.
He smelled himself. You go blind that way. You really sleep until 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hey, don't judge me. You're the interloper here.
I'm about to make a joke about where Carl learned a word that large, but reading his expression, it's evident he's in the mood. And honestly, neither am I. I toss him the car keys, and they bounce gently off the rotund bulk of his torso before he scoops them up off the floor mat. I'm gonna head inside and ask for permission to film, then maybe go through some files inside if they let me. Carl grunts.
They should. It's all like public record or something. Except for the aliens that crashed out here in the 40s. That's still classified, Agent Hunter.
A pain of nostalgia shoots through me as I catch on to what Carl's referencing. A faint smirk tugging at the corner of his lip. When we were little, Carl and I used to run around in old church clothes and pretend to be G-men hunting for aliens. Agent H, Agent Hendricks, and Agent Hunter. Our parents got so pissed at us for playing in the dirt in black formal wear, but we were super into it. Carl even drew up a zine, sort of documenting the make-believe adventures. Eventually, Carl started getting really into superhero stuff and tried to segue our adventures into the Superwolf universe. I didn't like Superwolf at all, and after an argument where I called him too fat to be a superhero, we ended our imaginary adventures. God, I was such a dick.
He actually admits it.
Yeah, no, Chase has never thought kindly of his past self. In all routes, he's very consistent about saying he thought his younger self was a piece of shit. Though, I will say this, like, I remember myself being roughly, like, around Chase's age, and I remember, like, those types of awful things. I remember having a friend who did, like, call me fat and everything. And it was just because we were pissed at each other at the time. I don't think that that friend was a awful dick that's like irredeemable or anything. He just was a dick that one day, and I remember getting really petty about it too because we were like at a theater and he called me fat and said, "Oh, you're taking up too much space," because I was sitting next to him, and I was like, "Well, fine. If I'm that fat, then I have both seats. Fuck you."
Just spread out, put your backpack next to you.
Yeah, no, really, I did take up 2 seats after that because I was that. I'm very petty sometimes. All I remember was that was like a field trip or something like that, and eventually that friend and I like made up with each other, but it took a while.
We're friends again now.
It was not you, DJ. You've never called me fat.
I know. But like, it amuses me just like the adorable pettiness that is elementary school.
Mhm. Before I can say anything further, Carl's setting his phone aside and popping open my glove box. Carol,
Do you still have those black sunglasses?
yeah, oh man, no. Or, oh man, no. Leo said he liked them, so I gave him the pair I had to him. I do have a pair of tortoiseshell. I do have a tortoiseshell pair in there somewhere.
Isn't that kinda girly?
Carl gives me a sidelong look as he withdraws the aforementioned pair, holding them up to me. What? Guys can wear tortoiseshell. It's not like they're polka dot or something.
My mom wears these colored sunglasses all the time. I literally can't see these without picturing her.
Well, like, that's your personal thing. No one else thinks that. He slides them onto his face. They were somewhat awkwardly on his sizable snout, unable to settle in place neatly. Your nose is too big. Carl pulls the shades off his face and limply tosses them into the dash, leaning back in his seat with a long exhale.
I will do your thing. I'll be here.
Right. Be back soon, Carl.
Yep.
I turn, heading inside. Stepping into City Hall, the first thing I notice is how dry the air feels, like there's no ventilation to speak of. Makes me feel like I'm standing inside a really slow baking oven. Half of me wants to run out and jump into the first body of water I can find, while the other half just wants to curl up into a ball and nap. The faint droning of a voice on a speaker is audible. It sounds like some sort of outdoorsy hunting and fishing podcast.
Chase?
Flynn's tall, leering form emerges from one of the doorways, a stack of envelopes in hand. We stare at each other for a few seconds, as the reality of what we've done with one another is hanging pretty poignantly in the air. Hey. He exhales, his demeanor shifting. His raised shoulders going more lax, and his tail settles on the musty carpeted floor.
What?
He looks back through one of the doorways beside him, then back to me, his scaled brow furrowed. For a moment, my mind blanks, and I'm not sure what to do with my paws. It's really stuffy in here. Flynn looks at me questioningly.
People who I work here are reptiles, so they keep the habitat all dry and such.
It's called the Habistat. It's a thermostat, but they have it for habitats.
Aw.
His gaze shifts back to the doorway again before returning to me.
Something you want? I'm pretty busy.
I clear my throat, crossing my arms over my chest. Yeah, I was hoping to get permission to film around City Hall and take a look at some records.
What records you looking to go through?
Well, I don't know. Flynn stares at me with an indiscernible expression. I'm just looking for anything I can use in my report.
So you don't have parcel number or date or anything? Just want to, what, browse?
Well, maybe you could point me in the right direction. You were the city clerk, after all. Flynn lets out a raspy exhale, moving to take a seat in his swivel chair at the front desk, his tail coiling around the base.
Alright, the reading room is off limits on account that monsoon season took out a portion of its roof cover last year. I can set you up in the mailroom with the... What?
Microfiche?
Yeah, I think it's microfiche.
Okay. Never seen that word before in my life.
So, do you know what a microfiche is?
No.
Alright, so in libraries, for old, like, stored records for, like, newspapers and, like, various other documents, because it takes so much space for, like, that actual physical paper there, they'll compress that down to, like, a smaller image, which is a microfiche, that you can then, like, put back into a machine to allow you to look at it and read it more in detail and more clearly later on. It saves
Ah,
on space for a lot of old documents.
okay. Set you up in the mailroom with the microfiche and a computer for the time being.
He grasps the edge of his desk, staring at the tips of his fingers.
You need to check with the mayor to see that what all you've got to access to.
Flynn's about to stand up again when another Gila steps in the room. She's slightly overweight and decked out in khaki shorts with a matching outdoorsy button up top. Despite being indoors, she dons a large sun hat, also khaki, with a vibrant floral bandana around her neck. This must be the mayor, Flynn's aunt.
I guess that could be me.
I mean, there is only like the four female characters in all of Echo.
It's just a town of entirely gay men.
With 4 girls. 2 of those being J names. Janice and Jenna. The other ones being the mayor here, who I don't remember if she ever gets her first name stated. And then, obviously, Heather.
Alright. Alright, what kind of voice do you think that she'd have?
So I can give you some more about her personality, just like some soft spoilers. So she has been the mayor throughout pretty much all of the characters' lives. Like, she has been in charge of this town. She does care about the town. However, she knows a lot more about what's going on than she lets on. And she has basically raised Flynn ever since he was kicked out of his family's home when he came out as gay. So she's essentially a mother to Flynn as well.
Okay, I see.
She raised that shit?
Yeah. Well, like, she raised him after a certain age. I don't want to spoil, like, when Flynn got kicked out.
Okay. Alright. Okay. I thought I heard another voice in here.
I catch wind of her perfume, a strong, sweet pea scent that seems to fill the room. Her slitted, blue-green eyes focus in on me. It's almost like she's sizing me up.
Are you from the grant committee?
I pause, quickly shaking my head. No, sorry. She visibly seems to deflate, her brow lowering, and her eyelids drooping to the half-lidded full lull.
Ah,
I'm Chase, Flynn's friend.
that's so. Another one, then.
She looks over towards Flynn, who's currently rubbing his temple. He responds quickly.
An old friend from childhood.
Yeah.
Although, kind of.
Although just last night he wasn't such an old friend now, was he?
Nope.
But yeah, no, that is, that should show you something about the aunt, that she knows, like, whenever she hears, this is one of Flynn's friends.
Another one.
You've met Chase before, I'm pretty sure, or at least seen him around town.
She seems to think for a moment before a look of realization comes to her eyes.
Oh, I almost didn't recognize you with that thing on your chin. I most certainly remember you.
Why is
What's
no
on?
one okay with
Oh,
that?
his
No one likes the
stupid
goatee.
goatee.
Come on, like, the goatee looks
Stupid
good. I
goatee.
dyed it and everything.
No.
I blink, reaching up and covering my goatee instinctively.
You were the one who was always pawing around with the red wolf fella, Leo, weren't you?
Not anymore.
Gay couple, right?
I chuckle a bit sheepishly, nodding. Having spent the past 3 years at Pueblo, I'm not as used to people talking about me like this as I once was. Yeah, sort of. I mean, yes. She exchanges a glance with Flynn, who is looking a bit tense.
Chase is doing a school project on the town and wants access to the records we've got on hand.
You fill out a request form, yeah?
No, he just wants to browse, I guess.
Well, it's only public record stuff that I want to take a look at.
Stuff go through the process. Usually the requests are just for parcel at a time.
What project is this for, Chase?
Well, I'm a journalism major at the University of Pueblo. I have to create a documentary-style video report on something. I chose Echo.
Dismissed to the general public then, are you?
Nope, that's specifically what I'm gonna do.
Her tone suggests she's joking, but she has that same intense look that Flynn has, where I can't really tell for sure.
All Gia monsters have intense looks.
No, Mayor.
That species. You know, we have a grant application that we're interested in putting out there that requires a video entry detailing the sites around town. Would you be interested in that sort of thing?
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. I guess I'd have to know more about the project. Honestly, I can't imagine the sheer amount of sugarcoating I'd need to muster to create a positive report about this place.
Fill this out.
Flynn is pushing a form across the desk my way. The mayor clears her throat.
Chase, where it asks for a lot/parcel request, you can just put all inventory.
Alright, will do. As I take the pen from Flynn and begin to write, I see him look up to his aunt.
All inventory?
Yes.
Alright then.
He huffs some idly. The podcasters on Flynn's computer speakers are going into detail about creating complex fishnets and trappings.
I'll leave you two boys to it. Welcome back to Echo, Chase.
It's good to be back.
Liar.
Yeah.
Flynn subtly rolls his eyes, turning back to his computer. The mayor just smiles before heading back to what I assume is her office. I finish up the form in silence, pushing it back towards Flynn. He squints at it for a moment before speaking.
Any word from Leo?
The topic change catches me off guard. I look up to see Flynn leaning in close, his voice lowered. Yeah, he believed the whole spending the night at Carl's story.
How went along with it?
Uh-huh. I end up telling him the whole truth, though. I guess I started feeling real shit about all this lying. Flynn leans back in his chair suddenly, clenching his eyes shut tight. He opens his mouth like he's going to say something, but merely shakes his head.
Yes, you fucking realize what? Yeah, yeah.
It's all good.
Chase, you fucking realize that when this week is over, you just get to go back to college land. And I'm stuck here with all the results of your shitty choices.
You know Carl as well as I do. He wouldn't go telling Leo to start drama. Anyway, he saw us, by your truck. Flynn's eyes open, and he just stares at the ceiling for a long moment.
Fuck it. Get your musky ass set up with some goddamn County Quest guest login so you can access our GIS maps.
He scoots back over to his computer, beginning to type something in. I catch a glimpse of his desktop wallpaper. It looks like some sort of waterfall surrounded by a lush evergreen forest.
Rand-
It's kind of... A what?
Sorry.
Oh, you're
Randall.
just talking... Okay.
Need a city.
It's kind of blurry, like a smaller image stretched to fit the screen size. I can also see a few transparent stock image logos overlaid on top.
We've got physical records, the real old ones, stored in the mailroom. Though I wouldn't say the shit there is very browsable. Some religious and historical society types came by months ago and helped us archive a lot of it. They're all labeled in manila folders along the south wall.
Flynn turns back to the computer, pecking at the keyboard. For a clerk, he's not remotely a fast typer. Oh damn, I forgot to ask for permission to film here. Flynn grunts.
Permission granted. Go do that while I get this fucking thing working.
Glancing back at his screen, I see incorrect password, 2 remaining entries before a lockout flash up. After looking at his keyboard, it takes me only a couple of seconds to figure out what's wrong. Flynn?
What?
He snaps at me, and I can see his pointed teeth between his scaled lips for a moment. You have caps
Yep.
locks on.
Yep. I knew it.
Flynn pounds the caps lock key with some extra force before returning back to his typing.
Thanks. Now fuck off for a bit.
I stare at him, and I can't help but feeling a twisting sensation in my chest. I'm not sure if I expected him to treat me differently after doing what we did, but I definitely didn't think he would treat me worse. I try to think of something to say to make this right, to make this not awkward as it seems to be getting. Yet, the longer I sit here, the more uncomfortable he seems to get. I guess I'm just literally leering at him like a creep right now. Fuck. I get up and head out, deciding to keep my mouth shut is the best course of action for the time being. The gravel parking lot makes it difficult to adequately line up my shot. Everything ends up being slightly crooked. I know I could probably fix it all in post, but that's more work for me that I'm not looking forward to. Carl, meanwhile, has his eyes glued to his phone. It looks like he finally found a pair of earbuds, because he's got those in too. Focusing, I take stock of the footage I've got from here so far. The midday sun means that my recordings are all pretty much well lit, but I can't help but think that a sunset would be more symbolic. Maybe I'll come back later. I don't know. My phone vibrates in my shorts. Grabbing it, I see I've got a new message from Leo.
Oh gosh, I can't read these text messages easily. When Jenna and TJ playing football. With Jenna and TJ playing football. With Jenna and TJ playing football.
No. It's not playing, it's plying.
Plying.
Playing football.
I think actually the point that he makes typos often.
I know.
And
Oh, was
partially to show he's mildly nervous whenever he texts Chase.
that?
Like, that's me, like, whenever I'm texting someone quickly and I'm just like, oh, I gotta get this done with, right? I get, and or he feels comfortable with Chase. Because that's when
I
I
think it's
make,
supposed to
like,
be that he feels comfortable with Chase, because from my understanding, he's always been a bad like texter, Chase, and you can even see that back like in Route 65, where he's like also just like, hey, I'm giving you basically no information. I have typos all over the place.
Yep.
Hmm.
I'm assuming he means soccer, but I decided now isn't the time to press him on word choice. Sounds fun. Filming with Carl and Flynn here. I slide my phone to my pocket, unlocking the trunk of my car so that I can start putting away all this equipment. Huh. Quick response for someone playing soccer. Upon checking my phone, though, the message turns out to be from Carl.
Get back to work. No texting.
I look around the trunk hatch to see Carl's smirking muzzle, his chin buried in his hoodie. Stepping back behind the trunk, I begin to text back. Okay,
So
I think this is new. I think
hope
this
the
is new,
AC
actually.
breaks in there.
Can we
Okay.
answer both of these? Because they're both great.
I just want to say I don't remember this at all, so maybe like this is new. I think.
I want to say, oh, I'm sorry, sir, to be
I kind of
snarky.
want to. I'm sorry, sir, as well.
Yeah,
Hope the AC breaks in there.
Okay, I hear 2 for AC breaks, 2 for I'm so sorry, sir. Hannah, you're a tiebreaker.
I'm okay with doing it. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir.
It is new. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. After hitting send, I set my phone down, beginning to lock up the camera in the neon orange University playable hard case I borrowed. Another message from Carl.
That's, oh, I'm so sorry, daddy, to you, boy.
Jesus. Snickering, I text back. Don't play gay chicken with me. I will win.
There, Chase would win.
The thing is, he doesn't know that Carl's bi, and Carl's actually somewhat comfortable with his bisexuality now. So now it's no longer there is no guarantee that Chase will win anymore.
I mean, I feel like if they do it, Chase wins, right?
Maybe. We'll
I mean,
see.
Chase is a horny boy.
True. I finished packing everything, and shut the trunk, waiting for the next response. As if on cue, my phone vibrates once again. I also realize now that Flynn's standing at the City Hall entryway with his arms crossed, staring furrow-browed at the car.
Why the fuck is Carl just sitting in the car?
Grinning, I hold up my finger to him. I look over at the most recent message.
I don't like chicken, I like cock, boy.
I smirked, eliciting a raised brow from the Gila.
The hell are you two doing? I got your shit set up.
You will not win this game, sir.
Daddy, I told you, boy. Don't make me spank you.
God.
Oh, this is the funniest version of Carl ever.
Oh, I love this scene.
I like Flynn's Carl.
Carl's so much sassy in Flynn's round, I think.
Carl's
That's
kind of
great.
sassy in a lot of routes, but he's only sassy with people he feels comfortable with. When you get somebody he's not comfortable with, suddenly he gets a lot more quiet and just doesn't talk anymore, which is sad because like sass Carl is the best Carl.
Mm-hmm.
That Carl is the best Carl.
Yeah, he's definitely not as comfortable around like TJ, Jenna, and Leo as compared to Chase and Flynn. Like he's like, all right, I'm able to be full sass now with you two.
Because didn't he hang out with Chase and Flynn the most growing up?
Not with Flynn growing up. He and Chase were best friends while they were growing up, but once Carl dropped out of college and came back for the past 2 years, he only could hang out with either Leo or Flynn, and Leo never hung out with Carl, at least in a real good way. So Carl instead just got closer with Flynn as time went on.
Ah.
Well, he's fucking stoned off his rocker, ain't he?
I ate too much of an edible this morning, apparently. Flynn looks to me, then back to Carl.
Probably for the best he's staying in the car then. Come on.
He turns, heading back inside. I follow, watching Carl smiling to himself before going back to his mobile game. Alright. I'm gonna go back because I want to see what happens if we go with the other option now as well.
I was gonna say, actually, I also kind of wanted to see.
Okay.
I was gonna ask.
Alright, there we go. I hope the AC breaks in there, asshole. Alright. Yeah, the same as earlier. Okay, here we go.
I hope your hymen breaks in
Hymen.
there.
The word is hymen.
I
Oh
hope
my
your hymen
god!
breaks in there.
Chase, my dear.
He made Chase
Oh, my dear.
speechless.
This broke forever ago.
What the hell is that supposed to mean? What?
Okay, I think this is my favorite Carl scene. You know, cause you and Flynn are doing it now.
Oh!
I slapped my paw over my face, taking a moment to make sure my phone screen is nowhere near Flynn's line of sight. Alright, that's the same. I don't have a hymen as far as I know.
Well, you're an otter and have musk glands down there. Third hole.
Oh god. Jesus. I decide that's enough of that exchange for now, sliding my phone back into my pocket.
Was not expecting that.
That got intense quickly.
Alright, if we're gonna continue with this reality, I want to do the reality where we don't talk about my fucking hymen. I'm so sorry, sir, for ever having you talk about my fucking hymen. We're moving on.
Where's there more
What?
scenes like that?
Sorry.
Wait, what?
You skipped a bit.
Yeah, I did, and that's why I was going back. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Flynn leads me through the narrow hallways, and the ceiling laden with visible piping, and the walls covered in dents and scratches. Eventually, we turn to a colorful room that looks like a mix between an old post office and the kindergarten classroom.
I was gonna say, this looks awkwardly like a kindergarten classroom.
It
Is
might
this a
have been.
kindergarten school?
No, they said this was a post office. But Echo's always been so weird. Like, it might have used this also as a school at some point, I bet.
Gotcha.
Alright. Like I said, archive files are in the back along the south wall. The computer in the corner is logged on into the county's GIS viewer, maps and shit, basically.
He points to a cream-colored computer that must be from around the early 2000s by the look of the make. Dust
I
visible
mean, that's
at the top
most
of the
government
tower.
buildings, actually.
What was that?
Most government buildings still have computers that look like they were built in the 2000s.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. I know, like, if I remember correctly, the IRS is still working with computers from, like, the 90s.
No wonder I haven't gotten my
Weird.
return yet.
Yeah, it's weird, like, why the government just refuses to update some of their tech, even though they really
Some of it
should.
is old tech is actually safer. It's not safer, but it's
For
like
some things, yes, but, like, for things like, calculating taxes and all that, maybe it doesn't need to be that old.
No.
Oh, so, like, where the native burial grounds and that sort of thing are? Flynn crosses his arms, looking back down at me.
Yeah, no. As far as I know, the Meseta tribal government has put forth any sacred site claims within miles of Echo.
Wow, really?
Really.
Why's that?
I don't have a whiff of shit's worth of a clue or care.
Thanks.
Go ask Jenna if you want to be all weird about it.
I
That
don't
would
think
be
she.
super weird.
So wait, what happened with the Masetta tribe?
So the
They haven't.
Meseta, yeah, they don't have a single claim on anything around Echo. They've
Huh.
never claimed anything.
I just want us to stay the fuck away from Echo.
Yeah, I don't think she has much ties to her tribe.
Yeah, well, it doesn't stop her from being a bitch about it whenever she sees fit.
Oof.
Flynn sucks in his cheek, as if saying that left a bit of an unpleasant taste in his mouth. Flynn speaking less than kindly towards folk isn't anything new, but usually not about Jenna. He looks down at some papers in his hands, as if they were suddenly very interesting. Is this about what she said when you got Carl the lighter from the reservation? His slitted eyes flicked back up to me, his lips thinned.
You thought that was bullshit too, right?
Well, I think she was just still in, I don't know, den mother mode with regards to TJ after what you did. If you want to get everyone talking again, you should just apologize.
Hmm?
There's a pause in the conversation as a cloud cover shades the light coming in from the window.
It's not just about the lighter crap. She doesn't give a shit about me, and she really doesn't give a shit about Sydney.
I blink. I'm still amazed at how much his name is being mentioned. Wait, I'm still amazed at how much his name is being mentioned after all these years of silence on the subject, especially from Flynn. He catches my expression and grunts, the Gila resting the side of his hip against the sorting counter.
When he died, all she fussed about was how affected TJ. Sid could rot for all she cared.
That's not fair. We were kids, and people react to that sort of traumatic stuff differently. Maybe helping TJ is what kept her occupied.
Oh yeah? Remember a few months before shit had happened? When all that shit was going on with Sid's dad? And fucking Jenna, all she did was try to shield TJ from all the negativity of the situation.
She tried to help, but he was different. I don't know. Fuck, we were just kids.
No. She fucking hated Sydney. Carl hated Sydney. Leo hated Sydney. TJ would never fucking admit it, but he said hated Sydney. And you hated Sydney.
Yeah, he killed him.
In TJ's route, we don't know for certain if that's
Spoilers.
the truth here. He looks me in the eyes now. I'm quiet for a moment, trying to think of what to say. Flynn, meanwhile, just looks expectant, seemingly waiting for me to blanch and try to defend myself. Sydney was an asshole. He raises his chin some, his crossed arms seeming to squeeze more tightly over his chest.
Yeah, so am I.
No, not like him.
Nobody knew him like I did.
You've said that, but that doesn't mean the crap he pulled on us, on TJ, was in any way justified. I'm pretty sure he genuinely enjoyed watching people get hurt. Flynn stares slack-jawed before quickly gritting his teeth.
He liked wrestling. He liked pirates. He liked pulpy adventure shit. But he did not like hurting people. TJ cried every day no matter what. You could see a dead fly on a windowsill and start howling. And you would drop everything and come rushing to his aid, scorning the shit out of anybody who didn't. We couldn't make jokes. We couldn't tease each other. We couldn't roughhouse. We couldn't even fucking swear without TJ getting upset. It isn't like we could just go hang out with someone else. This is Echo. And Leo he's fucking dead set on keeping the group together. Though now the group for Leo essentially consists of 2 members, your ass and his cock.
I frown deeply. Before I can interject, he continues.
When Sydney died, but you'll convince yourselves he was this fucking monster kid so that it didn't have to hurt as much. I ain't gonna apologize. Fucking hell, they should.
Flynn uncrosses his arms, staring out the sole window of the cramped mailroom. The cloud cover lifts.
I'll be at the front desk. If you take something, always put it back where you found it.
He turns, making his way back down the narrow hall. I'm left alone. Everything feels really quiet now, a sort of weird solace amidst these shelves upon shelves of Echo's history. I rub my face and muzzle, spinning a whisker as the previous conversation plays back in my head and begins to fade like a passing dream. With a slow exhale, I turn and head over to the archives. They all seem to be categorized by numbers, like 105-66-009 or 107-21-1. I grab a random file off the shelf, 106-01-001. Flipping it open, I see a cluster of 15 or so papers and permits for a place called Adelaide's Thrift and Pawn. It sounds familiar. It only takes me a little bit more perusing to figure out why. Near the exit from Route 93 to Flint Road, there's this faded old shack of rotten wood. Growing up, all that was left of the sign out front was Adelaide's Thrift. I think it's bulldozed now though, since I didn't see it on the drive in. According to these documents, Adelaide Vonberg applied for and successfully obtained a business license and deed to the property in 1979. I'm guessing these folders correspond to a piece of property within Echo, or a parcel. That helps some, but I'm still not exactly sure about where to look. I put the file away and move over toward the computer Flynn got ready for me. The screen displays an aerial photograph of Echo, with little polygons drawn over it, like a bizarre checkerboard. Clicking on one, nothing happens. I click again, and the printer turns into an hourglass, the program stating that it's not responding. Damn it. As the hourglass rolls on the screen, I think I hear the front door open down the hall. At first I wonder if it's Carl, then a voice speaks that I don't recognize, then Flynn's. I can only make out a little of what he says.
That's what they told you at the county office? You could have come here.
The hourglass spins.
Unit Corporation. It shouldn't affect developers here.
Finally, a little window pops open listing owner, address, parcel number, links to building plans, and other fields. Slow as hell, but this is actually kind of neat, I guess. Curious, I scroll over to the location of my old house and click. This time it reacts a little faster.
Platforms are physical, not much of a presence online.
It's currently listed as abandoned and condemned. It looks like the people my parents sold it to ditched it rather quickly. I move back toward the archive, picking up my old house's corresponding file and setting it down on the counter. Opening it, I see a weathered floor plan of my old house dating back to 1986. Nothing here could remotely be considered of interest to my project, however. I put the file back where I found it. As I hear the increasingly quiet rasp of Flynn's voice in the other room, I realize he's probably too busy to hold my hand with regards of where to look. Especially after the previous conversation, it might be best just to give him some space. I stare at the aerial display on the computer monitor, trying to figure out where to start looking. Alright, what do we want to look at?
I'd be fine with going just down the list if we can.
So just start with mine, go on down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm cool with that. There's something about the old mine that feels off to me. Unlike pretty much every locale in Echo, the mine was the one place we absolutely did not play. Sydney tried to make one of our scavenger hunt objectives down there once, but TJ told his mom about it and that was the end of that. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and laid it on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. I guess my hunch might have been right. Opening the file, the first thing I noticed is that there is a seriously large amount of documents here, and even a laminated old photo. Huh. That's a hell of a lot more verdant than it is in these days. Might have something to do with the damming they did up north in the 50s. I guess the CM 1915 is referring to the year the photo was taken. Within the folder itself, many of the documents seem to be illegal in nature, including documentation about a lawsuit of some sort. The ones on top seem to relate to that tourism program Echo tried a decade ago. There's a few papers about a historical heritage grant and the installation of a bench and 2 lamps outside the mine's entrance. There's even reference to a large placard installed into the side of the rock face outside, but I don't remember ever seeing that. Following this, there's another folder within that contains... Okay, that is just weird wording. There's another folder within that contains some condemned notices and squatter evictions dating from 1970 to 1975. Said folder also notes a work order for the installation of rebar bars in front of the mine to prevent entry in 1976. Next, there's the actual lawsuit documentation itself. The lawsuit contributed, in part, to the official closing of the mine during the war in 1942. Well, that's interesting that they closed the mine in the war, because usually that'd be when they were ramping up things instead.
Yeah, because they would need to increase, like, production line and stuff.
Yeah, interesting choice that instead, because of that lawsuit, it closed. Never put that together before. The working conditions were abysmal, and the owners of the mine were also heavily involved in town government, so there were corruption charges. The Danica Mine, also known as the CSCG, Copper Silver Coal Gold Mine, was the most in-demand employer in the northern portion of this state for decades. This was in little part due to management by the owners, but rather the natural conditions of the mine itself. The structure of the bedrock cave-ins unlikely, and its chemical composition kept the temperature stable and somewhat bearable. Flooding was of minor concern due to the low water table of the region. In other mines within the state, miners may have been expected to stand in 2 feet of dirty water in 40-degree temperatures. All the while the threat of a cave-in loomed, amplified with every strike of the sledgehammer. Yet, even still, the mine managed to have one of the highest casualty rates for its workers in all of the Southwest. The suit argues that this was at root due to severe negligence by the owner, Gregory Briggs. And you guys remember Briggs in the smoke room, right?
Oh yeah, Briggs.
This is the collie that Matt's voicing.
Oh yeah.
Miners were required to buy their own tools, including candles, sledges, picks, stakes, and even dynamite. Their wages, however, were of such little amount that many miners must have been forced to choose between having these tools and their family well-being. And their family being able to eat that week. Many chose the latter, as most men who moved to Echo did so with the explicit purpose of being able to provide for said families. Briggs operated the mine under constant fear of worker unionization. To assuage this, he hired on an incredibly nationally diverse assortment of workers. His rationale, though denied in court, was to ensure that no group of workers spoke the same language, thus reducing the chance of collaboration for better working conditions or wages. This preventative action was particularly heinous due to the nature of the work itself. Communication was crucial, especially in the low light conditions of the lower depths. Despite the language barrier, miners were expected to coordinate dangerous group mining procedures. For example, one standard ore extraction, one miner would hold a spike to the mine wall while another miner swung the sledge toward the spike. With light sources being scarce, this meant that the risk of striking the other miner with the sledge was a constant risk, and something that occurred with some frequency. Many miners were crippled from blows to the paws or arms, and then once fired were unable to support their families. This led to several notable starvation incidents within the town. The lawsuit documents also include reference to a brief riot in 1915 where a grisly murder took place within the mines itself. And make sure to write summaries of all this information down on a blank sheet of printer paper before putting everything back. It's this sort of crap that makes me glad I live in the age I do now. I don't think I'd make a very good miner. Alright, that's that, I guess. After finding the parcel number on the GIS thing, I can't seem to find the corresponding file to it. It's like it doesn't exist in any record here. Or it might just be misplaced. I'm going to go with the second theory. Maybe I'll ask Flynn about it later. So I guess we don't have the school. City Hall has a lot of history. I assume most of the really old stuff isn't on file, but I'd be curious to see what's there regardless. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and laid it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's good. Hopefully that means there's supplemental information in here. Unfortunately, upon opening the file, I see there aren't that many documents. There is, however, a marked photo of some sort wedged between the folder edges. Whoa! Looks like that date of origin in the top right corner. Or if that is really the date of origin in the top right corner, this photo of these guys was taken at City Hall 100 years ago. I looked at that. Bleh. I can't speak because I have Cliff there and I'm thinking, Cliff!
Yes.
I looked back down at the folder, finding a caption noted for the image. Sheriff William Adler left, and Winsleydale researcher Cliff Tibbets right, at a town meeting to discuss Echo-Meseta tribe relations. Adler. I just realized now that's Janice's last name. Must be a distant relative of hers. The rest of the documents in the folder just seem to consist of proposed additions and used changes for the building. A lot of them didn't pan out. There is a city government roster here, though, and it lists the historical election results for the town going back to the early 20th century. Surprisingly, Flynn and his aunt aren't the only Moors I see on the list. It looks like the Moore family has been involved in public office in some capacity as far back as 1914. Which is doubly surprising, noting the prejudice against reptiles that was pretty heavy back then. There's this whole negative stereotype about them being evil and controlling the government that persists even today. So it's pretty weird that a family like the Moores managed to keep getting elected back when the ignorance levels were much higher. I'll make a note to ask Flynn about it, as sensitively as possible. I go ahead and put everything back in the folder before returning it to the shelf. So what next? What next?
L.
Oh, okay, I'll click L. Oh no, I misclicked.
Dang it. Oh well.
I know enough about Carl's family to know that his house is seriously old. He's great something or other as the town founder, after all. The place has been seriously modernized into a more stucco adobe style, but there's some history underneath all that. Growing up, Carl overheard all this and started thinking the place was haunted. It freaked him out pretty badly. So much so, his parents basically begged me to have sleepovers with him during the weekends and even some weekdays. Not that I minded, of course. Carl had all the video game consoles that were out, and his parents bought him M-rated games. I got to stay up late with this giant TV, blowing up aliens and running over hookers. I remember he started to become less afraid as time went on, and his parents stopped asking for me to come over as much. So, of course, shitbag younger me told Carl a bunch of stories about a ghost bride who I said I saw standing outside his house at midnight. And that's how I got to spend my whole 5th grade summer vacation living at Carl's place. After looking up the parcel number, I retrieved the corresponding file and laid it out on the mail counter. This one has an archival notice attached to the front. That's pretty surprising on account that it's a residential lot. Opening the folder, a photo placed in front of all the documents immediately catches my attention. Wow.
So sexy.
I mean, like, think about it from Chase's point of view. That is basically a picture that he's like, I might be pocketing this. Part of my mind immediately flashes back to Leo, but even he isn't anywhere near close to being this.
Oh, I wasn't. I was kidding.
God.
I wasn't. I guess life in the early 20th century will do that to you. I should probably read the caption note for this that was attached. Sheriff William Adler arrests after surviving the partial collapse of the Hendricks Castle. The Hendricks Castle? Below the note are some rather old rudimentary building plans crumbling at the edges. The penmanship is all weird cursive and I can't read it. Does look a little like Carl's house, but not much much larger. Wow, that was a very different sentence than what my brain wanted to say.
Not that much larger. No, but much larger.
Also, this is an explanation for Carl's route, but when they're like, oh, it looks like Carl's house, but it also looks like it's not Carl's house, and it looks like it's been stretched out in weird ways. Like, yeah, that's the explanation is, whatever the hysteria was doing was using Carl's old house as the blueprint for it.
Yeah.
What follows are a series of deed transfers from various members of the Hendricks family, and eventually more modern building plans. There's even a cutout from a magazine, Southwestern Modern, which shows off the kitchen space back when it was first redesigned. I noticed something wedged in the back. A beige piece of paper that doesn't look like anything else in there. Okay.
So, okay, hold on.
A poem. Why would this be?
Entrance of the lands.
Hold up, we might be able to read it soon. I'm gonna see. Yep, here we go.
Okay.
Embrace of these lands.
I'm a teacher. I know how to read shitty handwriting.
As black takes the sky, hot turns to cold. The safety of ignorance. From the specters of the day, shut their eyes they wail. For the dark blanket, and to save them from a hell. And the blonde tarantula pulls itself from the depths, wrought within and without, in search of a suitor who will not live past the vehemence of its love. I flip over the poem and set it down on the counter. On the other side is a notice of death, for reference in the estate transfer. It's for a James Hendricks who passed away in 1913. The cause of death is listed as poison/infection. Theraphosidea tarantula.
Huh. In Carl's route,
That would
every
probably
time
be his grandpa, or that would probably be his great-great-great-great-grandpa.
yeah, in Carl's route, every time you freaked out, and just before you got, like, transported and stuff, you saw a spider.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because that one was very heavy on the tarantulas.
Correct.
I just thought it was because it was fucking with Chase because he's got arachnophobia.
I thought that too, but it seems like there's a connection.
Huh.
This game does like its connections.
That's true. It does like its circles.
So cool.
This is pretty unsettling. I didn't think tarantulas were poisonous. I mean, I know they are because I fear searched that information online one night after seeing one on my back porch at 3 a.m. I guess the poem was some sort of informal epitaph for this guy? Regardless, it's a shitty way to die. I slide the poem/death notice back into the folder and make note of it for the project. I think that's all for this parcel, so I place the folder back in the slot on the south wall. As I turn, I see the mayor standing in the doorway. She's peering at me quizzically. A little startled, I straighten up. Oh, hi, Mayor. I was just finishing up. She's watching me speak, like staring at my mouth, but not my eyes. It's honestly freaking me out a little. She doesn't respond. Mayor?
Make sure you put everything back where you found it.
Oh yeah, don't worry, I did that already.
Did you now?
She steps in the room and picks up a folder from the edge of the counter. I recognize it as the one for the abandoned mines. Oh, God, yeah, I forgot that one. Sorry. She stands there with the folder held out, waiting for me. I quickly move and take the folder. I try to ignore the hard stare I feel on my back as I walk to the archive wall.
Second cubby from the top.
Oh, thank you. I didn't...
Mm-hmm. Looks like Flynn's about ready to take off. You gonna give him some company?
The way she phrases that makes me reconsider a hasty response. Sure, I can hang out with him and his roommate.
You have a boy in your car.
I blink. I have a Carl in my car, yes. He wanted to hang back while I did all the work. I feign a chuckle, though not very well. I've never been good at that whole smiling with your eyes thing.
Carl Hendricks.
Yes.
Have a good rest of your evening, Chase.
Thank you, Mayor. You too. She moves on down the hall. After a moment, I follow suit to meet up with Flynn at the front desk. Alright, I think this is actually a good place to call it, because there's a good chunk left of Thursday. Thursday's a long day.
Always is.
All right.
Alright, well, say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.